Mo Mike here. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. I know many people are gonna argue with me about that. Why would anybody choose to suffer? Well, we don't mean that anybody would want to suffer, but we have the option to choose that. And so, the question that you often hear is, why would God or Source or the universe create such a place or an experience where we should suffer? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is that we have free will. So having free will means that we can choose any experience we want, whether it's good or bad, or even having a judgment of an experience being good or bad is a human perspective, right? So in the eyes of the Creator, everything is valid, right? It's like you go to a buffet and there's a whole variety of foods. So maybe there's certain foods you don't like, right? Maybe you don't like pickles, for example. So you might feel like, well, I really don't like pickles, and so pickles shouldn't exist. Well, maybe you don't like it, maybe somebody else does, right? So there's no law or rule that says, pickles shouldn't exist because you don't like it. And because you have free will, you can experience or try out everything, including the foods that you don't like. And so God or Source or the Creator does not decide for you what it is that you like in advance. Because if they did, that would not be free will, right? So you have the option to do anything you want to do. So, you're on this road, and if you decide you want to drive off the road and go into a ditch, it's going to hurt. You have that option. I mean, it's not saying they want you to get off the road, but nobody's forcing you to stay on the road, right? So because it's free will. And, one example I like to use is if you think of God or Source like your body, and you think of you, the person, as like an individual cell in your body. So each cell is you, and you are your cells, right? So you are part of God, and God is you. You're an extension or an expression of Source or God. And so if you was like riding a bike or skateboarding and you scrape your knee, some of the cells on your knee would die, right? And so the cells don't ask you and say, well, why did you kill me? And so from the cell's perspective, if it were like a human, the cells just die. I mean, they don't understand why this is happening from a broader perspective, right? And from our perspective, or the broader perspective of God or this body, I'm having joy or fun in skating or bike riding, and if I fall off, that's okay, right? It's not catastrophe. That's just an experience. So there's some damage that occurred, right? So it's not like I want my knee to get scraped, but it can happen, and that's part of the joy or the experience, right? So we have to think about our human judgment of suffering or our resistance to potentially negative experiences that causes a pain, and the more we resist that, the more it causes a suffering. But it is not that suffering is a necessary part of our expansion. I hope that makes sense. You think of if you're playing a game, right? Like let's say you're playing basketball. So the rules are you can't kick the ball, right? So there's nobody's forcing you to play the game. But when you play the game, you agree that you're not going to kick the ball, right? That you can only use your hands. And if you're playing soccer, you agree that you're going to kick the ball, but you can't use your hands. So these are the rules that are you choose to engage when you play the game. So there's nobody saying that you have to play a game or you have to play it that way, right? So in the same way, when you come forth as a human to experience these things, you could think of it as a projection, as a movie, as a game. There's many different ways you can look at it, but the point I'm getting at is that suffering is not something that God or the universe or source wants you to experience. But when you come for this experience, you have the option, just like you have the option to try different foods in a buffet. And if you come across something that you don't like, you can just simply say, look, I don't like pickles. And I tried it, I didn't like it, and I won't have it anymore. But if you continue to force yourself to eat pickles and you know you don't like it, then that's the suffering that you inflict on yourself. And that's what happens with many people. They resist. But when they resist something, they focus on it more. And so they create a lot more pain for themselves when they can simply recognize, look, I don't have to choose that. I can choose something else that I like instead. So as far as expansion for the universe or for God or whatever, if all of us or all of creation is an expression of the Creator, then we just have to recognize that every aspect or every side of or every perspective of what's this reality that we call life is adding to the expansion or adding to a new perspective of all that is. So that's all I have to say. I know it's a very complicated topic, and I know a lot of people are resisting this whole idea that bad things should not exist. But I just want you to be aware that bad things, good things, it's like the yin and yang, right? All of it is like in this big pool or big bowl of salad, and you get to choose what you want to focus on. So in the same time that there are these horrible things happening in the world, there are also many amazing things happening. And they're both happening simultaneously. And it's up to you to choose what you want to experience, right? It's just like you go in a movie theater and you can watch a horror movie, you can watch comedy, you can watch, an action flick, whatever. They're all happening simultaneously. You have the ability to tune in to the reality that you prefer. So just remember, you create your own reality. All right? So hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching.